Well, I guess Shannon froze.
So just let you know we are live.
Okay, did I unfreeze?
Yeah, now.
See, this is what happens every time you let me do this. Something wacky happens. Did my welcome go out? Did anybody hear it?
Let you know we are live.
Okay.
No.
Well, we're just going to say that we're starting now then. How's that?
What happens every time you let me do this? Something
Yeah, like a well-oiled machine here. So welcome to the Summers Woodworking Show. We are Season 4, Episode 11 tonight, and our guest is going to be Mr. Braxton here in a few minutes. He's getting set up to help us see the finishing off of the bottom of a bowl. Charlie did a good go-around last week for the top of the bowl. Mr. Braxton's going to do the bottom of the bowl, and we'll run through the panel. And since we picked on Charlie, we'll start with Charlie because he's on the left of my screen here. And we're going to let him say hey real quick, who he is, and all that good stuff, and then we'll move down the line. So, Charlie, did I freeze again? Okay, good deal. All right, Scuba Steve himself.
Hello, I am Charles Derry. We are here in Texas.
Charlie.
I gotta put my headphones on. Okay, somebody's...
Dan, you need to mute your microphone. You're getting too much feedback.
Hello, I am Charles Derry. We are here in Texas.
Charlie.
Well, alrighty then. So... Alright, back to Texas. Here, damn it. I mean, gosh darn it. Alright, I'm Charles Deering, woodenvisions.com. Charles Deering Scroll on YouTube in the link section of woodenvisions.com. You can find all of my other social media links if you can stand me that long. Stop laughing. I have feelings too. Good to be
We're not laughing at you. We're just laughing at you. All right.
And he's frozen again.
Did he freeze or did I freeze?
You froze.
you.
All right. Hey, at least I'm consistent. All right. Chris is frozen on my screen. So let's move over to Dan real quick, and let's let Dan say hey to the gang.
Consistent. All right. Chris is frozen on my screen. So let's move over to Dan real quick, and let's let Dan say...
Dan, you gotta pause the YouTube feed.
System.
Dan from Dan Funky Wood. You can find me there on YouTube, Facebook.
So let's move over to Dan real quick, and let's let Dan say...
All right.
Oh, he's rolling so far.
I'm telling you, I'm doing a bang-up job tonight. Okay, because I've got David frozen. Man.
For what it's worth, nobody's frozen on my end. Chris isn't frozen. Nobody is frozen. I think it's just your computer, Shannon.
No, we'll go ahead and mute Dan. That way we can go on with everybody else.
Well, I'm trying to figure out if it's me hanging up or if everybody else is or what here.
Yeah, you're hanging up.
That's awesome. Okay. Did Chris make it back to unfrozen land yet?
He hasn't been frozen. I think it's just you, buddy.
Okay. Well, if you can hear me, Chris, say hi to people.
Hi guys, Chris Ahern here from the Old Cranky Workshop. I am not frozen. It's 85 degrees here, so I am not frozen. And you'll find me on Facebook at the Old Cranky Workshop and on YouTube under Chris Will. Moving on.
All right.
And moving on.
Okay, but everybody's frozen on me here. I'm apparently having issues tonight myself.
Yeah, no.
Right. So I'll just say things and we'll see what happens. David, go ahead and say hi. Did Chris even say hi? I missed it.
Yes, he did.
Okay, David, go ahead and say hi real quick to everybody.
Hi, I'm David with DLG Woodwork, and every once in a while I'm going to just to mess with Shannon and Brian, to mess with Shannon. No, David DLG Woodwork. I'm happy to be here. Look forward to Braxton's show.
Alrighty. Okay, I've got Russ froze on my end too. So Russ, can you hear us out there? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, let it rip, Tater Chip.
I'm Russ Clarity. You can find me on social media all over YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even .com under Simply Wooden Creations.
Alrighty. Shane.
I am here. Hi, everybody. I'm Shane. You can find me over at the Shane's Hobby Shop.
It's going to be a fun show.
I'm on Facebook, YouTube, all of that, and the Shane's Hobby Shop. Come look me up.
Alrighty. Al, you're down there on the end.
You're muted, Al.
You're muted, Al.
Hearing muted me. There. I'm unmuted now, right? It was Charles's fault. I blame Charles.
That's fine. We'll blame everything on Charlie tonight.
I'm Al Forte, Odessa Woodworking, and I'm on Facebook, Odessa Woodworking, and also on YouTube. And I wasn't able to make it the last few weeks, but hopefully now with classes started, now that I'm really, really busy, maybe I'll have some time to play.
Playing is always fun.
Yeah, making sawdust.
And Brian is hiding out in the back tonight. He's watching the excellent job of my frozen internet connection coming to life here in all of the glory of live internet. So how else can we go wrong tonight? I don't know. But what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Braxton now, and we're going to let Braxton.
We're going to let Braxton.
Take it away, Braxton.
Okay. All due respect, Shannon, if you drop out, I will take over if that's okay with Brian. Just let me know.
Well, I'm half expecting it to kick me off here in a second or something, because nothing is hardly working. Oh, where did Braxton go?
It's a live show, buddy.
Okay. Well,
like Russ says, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen live.
Well, tell you about it happening on live.
this is turning out to be a hoot.
Brian, do you want me to fill in when he freezes up, or leave that to you?
Yeah, you can do it. I want to sit back and just relax and watch.
Okay, Shannon, if you hear me start talking out of the blue, it's because you froze on our end. But right now you're okay. And Dan, all due respect, buddy, please keep yourself muted. You got a lot of feedback.
I wonder where it's coming from.
All right. So did we get Braxton back yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, you know.
Okay. While if you don't mind, there are ways. I don't know how Braxton's going to show you. You're frozen, Shannon. Braxton, I believe, uses a version where he's back, so I'll let him say it how he does it. So,
hey, there he is.
Braxton, you're on. You don't have to stay muted, and you're not the only one having problems tonight.
And present him.
Oh,
yeah, of course it happens. I never have a problem until I need to do something. So, what do you want me to do? Introduce myself, or get right into it, or?
Well, that'll be a good place to start. We've choppily introduced all of our own selves so far, at least according to my internet connection tonight. So don't worry about it. I'm wrecking this in the first 11 minutes of it pretty steady tonight. So anything you're going to do is going to be an improvement.
Well, good. Well, my name's Braxton Wirthlin. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all under my name, Braxton Wirthlin. I'm joined in the shop tonight by my buddy Chris from Adventures in DIY.
Hey, how's it going?
Ah, cool.
He's here hanging out. We're turning the bowl.
Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Well, Chris is just going to stare at it, and all the wood's going to fall off. I mean, I've seen his arms, so.
And I brought the saw, man. So.
Yeah.
It's not Chris Pine Charles. It's Chris Kirshner.
He had me
Ooh,
working out with this bad boy tonight.
the big gun. My goodness gracious.
Sorry about that, Chris. My brain isn't working.
Sure, chop some onions with that big boy.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess I'm gonna show you guys how to turn the foot off the bottom of a bowl. This is mainly a demonstration for my buddy Charles Deering because I've been trying to explain how to do to him how to do it, but I know he's a visual learner, so hopefully this will help him out. I'm gonna go from start to finish. I glued up a block here. This is just some pine that'll act as the jam chuck, and we'll turn it so the bowl will go onto the outside of it, and then we'll support it with the tail rest, and then nibble away at that foot. So, should we get going? I'll have to set up the old camera here.
Let
All right.
rip.
Well, it's on you, baby.
All right. I'm gonna take Chris's bowl off the lathe.
Hey, Braxton, while you're setting that up, do you do a separate jam chuck for each bowl, or do you have just one kind of general one that you do, or what do you do as far as jam chuck for different bowl sizes?
You know, these will be the first ones that I'm turning. Now that I got my new lathe, I've been turning a whole lot more, so I have to address the situation. So it's really, I'm happy to do it here on the show too, because it's killing two birds with one stone. One, I need them, and then I can show people how to do it. But I glued up 2 blocks, one for smaller bowls, one for larger ones. I don't know if I'll have time to do both. I'll do the big one tonight because I have a bowl that I turned recently that I need to take the foot off. So it'll be a perfect demonstration. Yeah, I would say at least a couple. And you know, if the curvature isn't right for one bowl, you can always, chuck it back up and turn it down a little bit, and so it accommodates whatever the curve of the bowl you need to do. Then since it's just weight, just scrap wood. If it gets too small, make a new one. Start by moving the old camera here so get you guys a better view.
Now, Braxton, it's funny that you pointed me out because I just got something in the mail that is a special kind of chuck with flat jaws that helps do the bottoms of bowls, but this will help in case I ever need it, and I know there's other people out there that didn't have a clue because I hope I'm not the only one.
Yeah, this will hopefully help a lot of people.
Charles, the jaws you got, are they called cold jaws, C-O-L-E jaws?
They were just advertised as flat jaws, but I got them on Penn State Industries. I'll after Braxton's done doing his thing, I can lead people to it if they're remotely interested.
I'm just going to start with my 4-prong drive and then go from there. I'm going to mark out the center.
While he's doing that, we were discussing, I believe it was last week, what was the opposite of a foot or a tendon? I've been hearing it called a recess, but Braxton, is there a technical term for it?
That's what I call it, is a recess.
Pin for. I couldn't think of the word last week.
I've heard some people refer to it as a mortise, but basically, I mean, recessed mortise. It's basically the same thing. It's just, I think terminology may differ from one person
Yeah.
to another, but
Yeah, I think you're right. Just a different way of, whatever you want to call it. Same old thing.
Just for the sake of knowing, Braxton, what's the you have a 22-inch capacity on that lathe, right?
Yeah, it's 22-inch.
I believe that is a new lathe you have there since the last time I saw you turn something.
Yeah, sure is. It's a nice new one. I love it.
Hey, it's orange. Any correlation?
What's that?
It's orange. I don't know. It seems like there should be a matching CNC in the background somewhere that's orange.
Yeah, I guess.
Hey, me and Dave can talk after the show then.
Go Gators.
I think it's more of the General Lee. That's what I call it, the General. Reminds me of the General Lee.
I like that one much better.
can you see me, Russ?
Yeah, you know why they do that? Because they're not intelligent enough to do this.
All right. Got the old face shield on. That's the number one important thing. But I'm just going to turn this down right now and round it off so I can get the inside of my bolt. Or the contour for the inside of my bolt. This is the one I'll be turning the foot off tonight. It's a figured maple. I'll mute myself just in case. I don't know if it's going to be loud.
Most of you probably know this, but Braxton blows me way out of the water when it comes to lathe turning, so I've never wanted to give the impression I'm a pro, but this dude does some good work.
Especially to be fairly new at it. You just did your first turning here a while back, right, Braxton? You can answer that later if you need to, but I know you got yourself muted. But I don't think he's been turning a real long time.
But he's taken some classes from some very, very skilled people, from my understanding. So that helps a lot.
Yeah, he's taken a lot of classes, and he I believe he's been doing it quite a few months.
Yeah, he's been doing it a little while, because I had him on my show the beginning of the year. And but I mean, you can take all of the classes in the world, but it doesn't mean nothing if you're not talented.
That's true. And I think in all the woodworking, hands-on, as far as hands-on learning, wood turning is the best. If you want to get better at something, wood turning is definitely one where classes with somebody that knows what they're doing is great.
I got Donna Presley in the chat room talking about that wobble we're looking at. She's saying it looks scary.
About the what?
The wobble. When he's turning, you can see his bow kind of wobbling right there.
Well, it's
actually what she's looking at is the corners of the board going around in circles so fast because it hasn't taken the corners off yet. So it just appears that it's wobbling, but it's really not that much.
Right. I was going to say the only thing I've never done what he's doing with a square piece. The only thing that would scare me about that is he just goes right at it. I'm scared that thing's going to whack me as it comes around while I'm trying to get it turned down. Braxton doesn't seem to mind that at all. He's going right for it.
Yeah, I think me and Mom watched a video the other day of somebody turning and it broke off. It hit him right in the mouth.
That was the intro. That was Pat Lapp, I believe. But
Yeah, that sure was. Yeah.
I believe when you see the corners going like that, it also has to do with shutter speed of the camera, but it's also what I was saying last week about ghost cutting. And when you have ghost cutting where you're cutting material and you have air in between, the high speed works better because it's less chance for that tool to go in between the material and the air.
See, I was going to mention something weird about it, but I just figured it was my choppy internet connection. So.
All right, that'll be good for now. I'm gonna get that the tenon turned on the back of it, and then we'll mount it in the chuck, and that way I can get the bowl on there. The curve's not really critical. All you want is like a good wide place where you can stick the bowl, and then you pull the tailstock up against it, and that's where the majority of your pressure is coming from. So it doesn't have to exactly match the inside of the bowl, just as long as it's fairly close. Yeah, that light was a little bright. I think that helps a little.
So would you say the greater the surface contact area you have, though, the more stable you're going to be during this?
I would say so, yeah. And this bowl is pretty flat on the bottom, so that's kind of what I'm aiming for here. More curve around the side and like kind of a big flat area where it can just rest up against. I might actually turn this around. Probably should have mounted it backwards in the first place. That'll make it a lot easier to turn that.
Right. Braxton, while you were turning, you probably couldn't hear us. People were wondering how long you've been lathe turning, and we know you took classes, but
I started turning in high school, and I stopped after high school because I never had a lathe, never had a place to do it, but I've always really enjoyed it. But as of recently, it's been about probably I'd say about a year, maybe a year and a half or so.
Well, you're kicking butt at it.
That I've really been turning, and I'll tell you what, it's the instruction that I've been getting. I know I've talked to you about it before, Charles, but I would highly encourage anybody who's turning to go out and find a club or find somebody else with more experience that you can learn from, because wood turning, like I heard somebody else say, it's super hands-on, and that's the best way to learn. But if you're coming at it blind, using bowl gouges, it's hard, man. It's hard to figure these things out, and it can get pretty hairy if you don't know, the proper direction to cut like that. You can get some serious catches with them, and that's why carbides are great, because it's a lot less threatening. It's a lot easier to really get into it. But for me, I really like the traditional route with the bowl gouges. But yeah, if you've got search the internet, if you've got a turning club around you, if you got the opportunity to go to a symposium and sit in on some demos or find somebody that you can take a class from, I would highly encourage you to do it. Even just one class will really get you a lot more education and a lot more knowledge as to how to do it right.
Yeah, I would love to find a one-on-one tutor on that, because I think you can do more with traditional tools.
Today was seriously, yeah. I mean, I never really turned a bowl until today, and just having Braxton here to show me the proper angles and how to hold the gouge. I mean, otherwise I would have just chunked it out a whole bunch of times. But it turned out pretty smooth.
Yeah, the first time I went to use the bowl gouge, I was catching all over the place.
So I mean, with his help, I was able to turn it to, I don't know, like the thickest part is a 1/4 inch, and it's got some weird bell shape, so there was that to overcome. But yeah, it was really great just hanging out and getting that one-on-one instruction.
And it was great for me to have somebody who cares about it instead of sitting in here by myself. But all right, I'm gonna turn the bottom of this thing now. See if I can get a cool angle.
Ooh.
I can't really see the back of it. We'll get some cool angles later.
That was a cool angle.
Well, we couldn't really see what I was turning off. Hold it. Yeah, that's cool. We'll leave it there. We go on mute again.
We should have some turning music.
Russ, you can yodel, can't you?
Russ can sing real good.
No, I can't. That's a lie.
Y'all folks on YouTube, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them out while he's muted. I don't have a clue what to talk about, and I should be letting Shannon take care of that. But
Well, I'm assuming when not everybody's frozen, it's actually me, and it keeps happening still. So
I've got a question. I think it was Donna talking about taking a class, and she doesn't have anything within 50 miles. I think I read it right. I'm kind of getting old, so it's kind of hard to see over there. But I'm not a wood turner, but I have a lathe and I have turned some wood. But I found that the more I turned, like little turned legs, the better I got. So my point is as long as you're careful and just keep turning wood, even if it's pine, which is what I used. I started to feel a little more comfortable right after the 15th piece that I turned, and I was trying to make them all the same, with the same curve, and they started to look actually pretty good. But I think practice too helps. I don't know. For those of us that don't have any talent, I guess that's my 2 cents.
Practice absolutely helps. That's a good point. Just get out and even watching videos too online and seeing what other people are doing and kind of trying to emulate, how they're cutting and how they're doing all that stuff will help.
Yeah, indeed, watching others helps. This right here is immensely helpful.
Now, Braxton, I've heard on many lathe turning videos ride the bevel. Is that the case with every single tool or just certain ones?
Just certain ones. That's like bowl gouges specifically. Like the one with this is a one with a super focus there. There we go, with a long grind or a Ellsworth grind or Irish grind or whatever you want to call it. Fingernail grind. It's like it's just the longer bevel, so it's got the wings and the heel up here versus the.
And I've noticed that a lot about a lot of turners. They all have their preference on how long or wide or the shape of their bevel. But for those that don't know, riding the bevel basically is being careful where you're just barely shaving with the end of it. But anything I say wrong, correct me.
And this is like a bottom finishing bowl gouge, so it's got no wings on it. It's a little bit steeper on the bevel, so you can get around tighter curves. Actually, what riding the bevel means is literally pressing the wood, your bevel against the wood, and just following the contour of it, and that will get you a really nice shape on the inside. Ride the bevel.
So more so for control than baby steps or creeping up at it.
Right. Yeah, you want to ride the bevel versus coming straight in at it. That's a pretty dangerous angle, and it's going to cause you to either get a catch on the wing or attach on the front, and you'll be taking way too much material. So when you have it kind of angled a little bit more, it's easier to control. You're not taking too big of a bite in there, and risking getting a catch and kind of injuring yourself.
I was going to say, if you don't have any clubs around, like Donna was talking about, she didn't have any clubs available, watch YouTube videos. I learned to turn my first pins by sitting around and watching YouTube videos. Some of the other guys that have been turning them from years, and that's where I learned to turn mine when I first started. So that's another. I know it's not as good as taking a class or hands-on, but if that's all you got available, it's there.
Yeah, that absolutely works too.
Yeah, and I'll throw this out there. Make sure that you watch, established turners, people that's got big channels, and because there's a lot of guys out there that just throw a video up there. Doesn't mean that they know how to turn. Carl Jacobson, Tim Yoder. I'm trying to think. Wyoming Wood Turner. Those are some of my favorites.
Naked Turner, Eric Anderson.
Yeah, I like Eric.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Totally forgot what I was going to say.
It's a sign of old age, Charles. I speak from experience.
Anyway, I was trying to contribute to the show, and I just butchered it. So I'm going to shut up now and let y'all watch that spinning thing. And you can't hear it enough, keep your tools sharp. You'll notice how quickly that material comes off.
So what is everyone's favorite sharpening method?
Well, I use carbide, so they're already sharp, but I do have a Wolverine sharpening system.
All right, I got Hugh Jackman in my head right now, sharpening your stuff for you. So
I use a homemade Wolverine type jig with the 8-inch slow speed grinder to sharpen all of my tools.
Yeah, I get the Wolverine also in a right-hand grinder.
Yeah, that's exactly what I have. Wolverine jig and the right-hand grinder.
Me too. If you want to talk about the king of homemade stuff, I believe that would be probably Captain Eddie Castellan. And I love his personality, but he does a lot of stuff that is homemade so he can save on cost.
All right, we're good to go here. So really all I did was basically turn the outside of a bowl, kind of.
And you're not worried about the bottom or the center of the curved side?
Now
that sticks out a little proud, that's not going to bottom out in your bowl?
Yeah, I don't think it'll bottom out. Let me see.
I guess if you were really shallow or something, you'd be concerned about that?
Right.
Or if you were concerned, you'd be concerned, and since you're not, I should just shut up.
Yeah, it won't be good.
Mr. Know-Nothing over here doesn't even have a good internet connection. Probably ought to keep his yap shut.
No, you could definitely turn that down and make it flat if you want to, but I think it looks like it'll be good. I'm going to sand that little nub off real quick. All right.
Braxton, is that just pine you're working with, or did I miss what you said it was?
Yeah, just knotty pine.
I believe that is Charlie's favorite type of pine.
Anything knotty.
But I might be spelling that wrong in my head, too. I'm not sure.
Believe it or not, Braxton, that's why I haven't done a lot of the quote-unquote waste block things, because I don't have a lot of material laying around except for logs.
Yeah. I mean, this is something you could even do that on plywood or whatever. It's just a waste block or if you're ever in Home Depot, pick up they got a piece of that knotty pine or something, short length of it. You don't need too much.
No, even something from that coal pile in the back of the store might work for you too.
Right, yeah, exactly.
For what it's worth, Braxton, I don't know if you're aware, but your camera is aimed at your face, if it matters to you.
Yes, I
think you're pretty, but...
I'm digging the 2 little specks of wood in your beard right now.
That's man glitter.
You know, but that's just beard envy on my part, so, you know.
It's even in my beard and hair, Russ. Just give me sawdust. It's falling out.
See what you did, Russ.
Some sawdust.
Hey, we're admiring the good looks of Braxton here. In the chat, JP Woodwork mentioned another guy on YouTube, a turner, Mike Walt, and I've watched a lot of Mike's videos. He said he's got a great beginner series, so yeah, that's a very good recommendation, JP.
Well, Braxton, one of your favorites is John Clues, or however you say it, right?
Jimmy Clues?
Yeah, Jimmy Clues.
Yeah, that's the guy I do get wood turning instruction from.
I watched a video of his yesterday. He's very good at explaining simply.
Yeah. He's a real charismatic guy, too. He's got that English accent. You just, like, I don't know, you really pay attention to him. Adds some credibility, I think. He's a good guy.
A touch of class, man.
Yeah, a touch of class, that's right.
Braxton, how much you would charge me to come to Texas and teach?
$4,000. No, I don't know.
Russ, I'm going to need you to start a GoFundMe.
All right.
Well, you might have a better shot, Charlie, if you offer to cook some hot dogs in the driveway.
Oh, in that case, $50.
Well, by God, I'll cook you a whole cow, and if you want it edible, I wouldn't trust me because I can't grill out to save my life.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah, I got some of this. You want to put something to protect your bowl? I have some of this adhesive-backed cork. You can get this. It's like in the shelf covering section of your local hardware store, or I think that's what it is, or drawer covers, or
drawer liner.
Yeah, drawer liner or shelf liner, or.
Is it more for the non-skid or for the cushion?
It'll help it non-skid, but it's more for the cushion to keep the inside of the bowl safe. Because when you turn the bowl around to put it on, you've already finished the inside, so you want it to stay nice. You can also use that kind of rubber mesh stuff that you use in the bottom of toolboxes. That works really well. Or any kind of rubbery stuff that's gonna protect the inside of your bowl that sticks on. You use spray adhesive or whatever to get it to stick on there.
Or that weatherproofing foam, I guess.
Yeah, actually you could use that, the adhesive back weatherproofing foam. Like the window stuff you put in windows, seal it up. That would work really good. I'm cutting another strip right here, in case anybody wants to see how I use
Scissors.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's excellent scissoring technique.
Slow, even cuts. There we go.
I would imagine cork could be pretty cheap, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it might have been like $6 or $7 for the whole roll. I use it. It's good. I use it for lots of stuff. Bottoms of coasters and stuff like that I make, or whatever. It's good stuff to have.
I haven't even thought to make coasters. I could probably make a bunch of those.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's a cost-effective cushion for pushing the bowl, huh?
Yeah. Good.
I was wondering if it was finally going to get to that.
Yeah, I got it out of the way because I knew it was just hanging out there and it was driving me nuts. So.
Braxton, Jamie Page is asking about using half a tennis ball or a whole tennis ball on the tailstock. I know some people do that for cushion.
Yeah, I bet you could.
I've seen. I think Captain Eddie did that. I've seen it done probably just so it doesn't leave a big dent, but you know, I'll let you get back to it.
The only thing I would worry about with a tennis ball is the compress. Like if it compresses, and then you can't. It's kind of tennis balls are kind of slick, so it might not provide enough friction to spin the bowl. So you might get a lot of slippage while you're trying to cut away. But anything to keep the inside of the bowl safe. Also, I hope Jamie's ready for SummerSlam, brother. There's Brock Lesnar versus the Viper Randy Orton. I'm going with the Viper on this one.
WrestleMania, and for what it's worth, he was talking about on the tailstock with that tennis ball.
Oh, the tailstock.
And he brought up another turner I was thinking of that does really unique stuff. He does really unique stuff as Temple Boy turning.
I was just getting a paper towel here, so I'll even put a little bit.
And Braxton, you're currently working on a video for an Oriental what bloody hell? The corner bowl with where you want to just tell everybody what you're working on?
Oh, the 3-wing. I haven't started filming it yet.
Soon for anybody interested. His last name, by the way, is spelled Wirthlin. Yeah, that right there.
Yeah, this piece here, it's really cool. It's a little lidded box.
Okay, but I gotta admit, it's nothing like Charlie described it just a second ago. It's a lot prettier.
And the thing he did on the lid there is called a finial. I just recently looked at videos about that.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I did not know what a finial was until I saw a YouTube video where the guy made a nice, you know, really gorgeous finial.
Braxton, you're way better than you give yourself credit for. I'll give you that.
Thank you. Now see, you got to try to get it. This is a little off center here, so we'll try to get it as centered as possible, which is kind of hard. One good trick is to always leave a center mark on the bottom of your bowl, so you know where the center is, and that'll help even it out.
All due respect, wouldn't that live center, wouldn't that create a center mark, or did you turn it in a chuck?
It will, but since it's not really holding on to anything in the front, it could be slightly skewed. So right now, when I spin it, it's kind of hopping up and down. So I need to find almost the exact center.
And that's another thing for those that don't know a whole lot about lathe turning. When you have wet wood, you can turn it completely around, even if it's not noticeably wet. Or green, I guess they refer to it as green, but if you turn a bowl to completed dimensions and you let it sit for a day or two and you go put it back on the lathe, it'll be wobbly because that's the wood movement.
Yep.
I think Chris just stepped up. He's just going to hold on to it while you turn it.
Yeah.
Boom!
No, I can do it. Hold on.
Give me your hand.
And this one was slightly green, so it may have warped a little bit. Yeah, it's good enough to demonstrate what I need to do. Yeah, I mean...
It was green. Yeah, because you can see the oval shape.
Oh, yeah, so it's warped up a little bit. So get it the best you can. There's always, doing it this method, there's always going to be a little nub that you have to clean up anyways. So as long as you're not messing with the curvature of it, you'll be fine. But,
Braxton, I think you've been challenged, but Jamie says he's going to win that wrestling belt from you.
oh, jeez. That guy talks a lot of smack, but I haven't seen him back it up yet, brother.
Does anybody else feel the desire to eat some Slim Jims right about now?
Yeah, brother.
Slim Jim? Oh yeah, give me one.
All right, I'm gonna not mute myself for this, just so I can kind of talk, sort of explain what I'm doing. Let me get the camera up a little closer here. For those of you who are interested, I have a video on this little magnetic camera mount. It's just a Harbor Freight magnet with a 1/4 bolt that I'm putting on the bottom of my camera so I can stick it to stuff. It works out really well, so that's what I'm doing right now.
Simple yet effective.
Sticking it to my lathe.
That's funny. I made one of those, but I put a piece of wood on mine to separate it from the magnet to keep the camera safe.
Yeah, I thought about putting something in between it, but this, like the back side of it, it won't stick to anything. So it seems to, I mean, hopefully it's not screwing up the camera. I only use it with like my GoPro and my iPhone anyways. I don't have like a super fancy DSLR or anything that I'd be too worried about. But here we go. I'm going to start by just nibbling away at it. And you always want to push in. All your cuts should be with the pressure inward towards that jam chuck, so you're not, you know, pulling the pressure away and wanting it to loosen up. Let's see if you can see the. I don't know if I can aim it down anymore. There we go. Now you can kind of see my tool. No jokes there, Shannon.
I'm trying not to, but I'm actually watching, so I was gonna let that one go for a second.
You can see my tool.
Sure can.
It's a little bit off. Just take it slow.
That's definitely off.
Tighten her up.
Not that tool.
Yeah.
I know it probably isn't hanging and stuff, but it sounds like it's hanging and it's just
What's
gonna.
that?
It sounds like it's hanging for some reason, or or nicking the bottom of it.
Yeah. Well, it's not getting any catches, but the bottom's a little uneven. So that's the noise you're hearing. It's like kind of skipping.
Yeah, exactly. The skipping, yes.
Cutting the air a little bit. Yeah, you just want to take this part slow. You know, don't be in a rush.
I'm certainly familiar with the hanging part. I've broken stuff that I've tried to play with and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
You get the idea. I'll mute myself now so it's not too bothersome.
That's where a face shield really comes in well too. I've had what little I've done, like I'm saying, I haven't turned very much. I've had stuff fly out at me, and I'll tell you that shield definitely is a must. Definitely a must. If anybody does that, I mean, that'd be the first thing to get. And I think it's been told before, you know.
Yeah, I haven't tackled anything of this size yet, and even for just pens and the few bottle stoppers I've done, I bust out my shield for it. But you know, I don't know enough about turning yet to be brave. So I'm just a big sissy when it comes to pain.
Me too.
I guess I wasn't muted, but getting chunks of stuff thrown at me is not my idea of fun.
Not unless it's you know, chunks of brisket or something. I'm all for that.
I'm with you on that one, brother.
But until that day comes that someone enters me into a brisket tossing contest, I'm going to wear a face shield.
Yeah.
Did somebody say brisket?
Yes, indeed, baby.
Yes. Yes. Yummy brisket.
Well, we lost Braxton's train of thought.
Right. He's got Chris going to set up the grill now.
I don't know if you.
Oh man, where'd we go?
I don't know if you guys remember those ribs that I guess showed on my iPhone. I don't know how well it turned out. I didn't go back to look, but that was the last thing I've smoked out on the smoker. But brisket is one of those things that turns out really well too. Yeah, I love me some brisket. This is West Texas, and that's pretty much what most people, you know, barbecue and stuff.
I'm going to switch to a detail gouge, or like a spindle gouge now, because I can get closer up into that point and shave a little away. And also, once you get it pretty well rounded off, you want to start to do a little bit of a recess in there, just so you've got kind of a high point where the bowl is going to sit. And that way, when it sits down, it's not going to rock. So you don't want to do it dead flat, because especially if it warps a little bit, it'll be more likely to kind of rock around. So if you just put a little bit of a ridge right around the outside that it can rest on, you'll be a lot less likely to have a wonky bowl.
Nothing worse than wonky bowls. Yeah, I just recently heard that as slightly concave inwards. There's another term for that I can't think of, but y'all get the point. That definitely, because wood is always moving, that keeps it from rocking.
Yeah, nobody likes a wonky bowl.
That's about as far down as I want to take it, right there, and I can sand that off or cut it off with a chisel. But what I'll do next is sand it and then put a finish on it, and it'll be good to go.
And did you say what kind of bowl that was? What wood it was?
It's a figured maple or figured ambrosia maple.
Cool.
I guess an advantage would be with that larger diameter contact point to your table surface or whatever. You'd have more stability that way, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you definitely will.
But this is a bit of a fancy bowl. I can't imagine someone's eating cereal out of this thing come Sunday morning.
I'm going to eat popcorn out of it.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, they'd have to be real hungry to eat cereal out of that.
Yeah, but popcorn does seem like a cool thing. How would you seal it, like from the butter or oils from the popcorn, or are you going to use just regular, you know, air popped, which doesn't have? What are you going to seal it with?
Braxton, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I seal everything with OB's Shine Juice. It's shellac, boiled linseed oil, and denatured alcohol. I mean, the shellac should protect it from that, as long as you know it's not going to sit in there forever. As long as you wipe it out. I figure the popcorn grease will just season the bowl a little extra.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It probably would. It's kind of smell kind of funny though, but
yeah.
Put some good old shrimp and sausage gumbo into it.
Yeah.
Yummy.
Me and Braxton were talking a while back about that Shine Juice with the denatured alcohol, shellac, and whatever that third one was.
Boiled linseed oil.
Boiled linseed oil, but didn't we determine that you don't so much need the denatured alcohol because it doesn't really make a difference?
I would add at least a little bit because it helps catalyze the shellac so it dries faster. But the less you have, the shinier the shellac is going to be, or the less coats you're going to need to put on. Right now, I got a bottle that's, I mean, it's pretty well, all the alcohol is evaporated out of it. But there's still a bit in there. But I would definitely use at least a little bit of denatured alcohol.
Yeah, the denatured alcohol it just basically thins down the shellac. So
Right.
you know, the more you put in, the thinner cut of, or the thinner it makes the cut of shellac. So, if you don't put any at all, the shellac's going to be a little thicker. But if you thin it down, it's a lot easier to apply, a bunch of thin coats that way.
According to your formula, it was 1/3 of each ingredient. Would you still say that being what you've noticed about denatured alcohol, or would it be a little less than 1/3?
You can always play around with it. That's what the original recipe is 1/3.
Another point into thinning it is if you put it on too thick, it will not penetrate the wood. So therefore, by thinning it, it will go into the wood a little further to get a hold better. Because basically, if you don't thin it, it'll just go on the surface and that's it.
Yep.
And if anybody's forgetting that formula, Braxton does have a video on his channel about that.
Yeah, or Captain Eddie. I found the recipe from Captain Eddie. So I got a link to his video and my video too.
So for that shellac, do you make it yourself beforehand, or is that something you buy off the shelf?
No, I mix it up myself. I make my own shine.
You are a rebel that way. So how do you make your shellac then for that mixture?
I buy the shellac, yeah. It's Zinsser, Bullseye.
Okay.
Clear shellac.
So the shellac is off the shelf, but the shine juice isn't.
Well, technically everything's off the shelf, but the combination is mixed at home.
You don't climb into the forest and get your own shellac materials from the floor of the forest.
Is that a beetle? Yeah, I think it's a beetle.
You don't dig your own linseeds to boil them and make the oil yourself? Jeez, Louise.
I don't boil my own linseed oil.
Getting lazy.
Denature my own alcohol. I like my alcohol with plenty of nature in it.
Braxton, do you want to let folks know the grits you go through on bowls?
It depends on the finish you get off the tool. But this one was kind of rough on the bottom, so I started with 80, and I'm working my way up to 400. I usually like to go to 600, but I don't have any 600 grit on hand.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people who stop at 400, and I always thought it was an unwritten law that you go through all the grits, but I guess not.
Yeah, I mean, the finishes have been turning out real nice just stopping at 400. So it might not even be necessary to go all the way through it.
Well, that, and depending on the wood, because I know aromatic cedar is like very, very soft. You don't want to have an 80 grit to hold that.
Right, you'll have to really work out the marks. Yeah, there's a little bit of a bit right there, but that's all right.
Braxton, somebody's asking about waxed or de-waxed shellac. I don't know if that's a joke and I'm falling for it, or
no, it's a real thing, but it's whatever comes in that can.
Okay, and Jamie wants to know if you ever use sanding sealer.
It basically is sanding sealer. Like denatured alcohol and shellac is a sanding sealer. So there's a tip right there. You can make your own and save yourself some money.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I've noticed on a lot of the bowls I do, it'll soak in certain spots. Is that because the wood is wet or just porous wood?
I don't know. It might just be porous wood. But you can, yeah, especially if you got to do any work with any like thin CA glue to seal up any cracks or whatever, you'll want to put a coat of sanding sealer on it so it doesn't absorb into the wood around it and stain it. So it's like a 50-50 mix of shellac and denatured alcohol is a great sanding sealer. But I typically don't put any on unless I've got to seal up some cracks.
Gerald Vance Woodworks says only de-waxed shellac is a sander sealer.
Gotcha. Yeah, I use whatever comes in that can.
Yeah, the Zinsser, the seal coat stuff you're talking about buying at the big box store or wherever, that's de-waxed shellac.
Is it? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ordered it off of Amazon thinking it was a specialty product, and then I saw it at Walmart. It's like, dagnabbit.
Y'all do know that shellac is basically beetle dung.
Yep.
Dung?
From the lac bug from China.
Yeah, it's not dung, but the lac bug, the female lac bug secretes that on the trees and they collect it.
I heard they make jelly beans with that.
It's actually a very food-safe product, and you're right. They put it on the coating on candies to keep the candy from melting in your hands.
Yeah.
So it is a food-safe product. It's not actually dung from a beetle. I was just messing with y'all guys. But
I was about to say my diet.
I just ate a bunch of jelly beans.
I was going to say my diet has changed drastically.
But it is something that is secreted from it's called the lac, L-A-C bug, a female LAC bug. It's secreted on the trees, and they collect it and use it.
Juice. Ladybug juice.
Yep. So when you're saying that's juice or bug juice or whatever, you're exactly right.
Fine, yeah.
But it's been used in the food industry so for years and years and years. Like I said, it's nothing new. It's an actual old product. Now, how in the heck they ever figured out it was food safe is what I'd like to know. Somebody had to taste it first.
Yeah, I want to know who looked at a cow and said, "I'm going to drink whatever comes out of that stuff right there."
Charles, I was thinking the same exact thing. Yes, exactly.
Probably a guy that's really thirsty. Necessity is the mother of invention.
God, I think Braxton's about to cut off that little nib on the bottom.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll use my Dremel tool with a little burr on there, and it cuts it right off really well. But I don't feel like digging it out, so I'm going to use a chisel.
And Braxton, I've had a lot of non-lathe turning people, non-woodworkers, period. They like the look of the foot on the bottom, even though it's a tenon, but they like that look. I mean, do you find that a lot?
Yeah, I like it on some bowls, definitely. I think it elevates the piece a little bit. And some of them I'll put a foot on that isn't the tenon. I'll show you an example. Like this one here, this one's cool. It's super warped up. This was really, really green when I turned it. Like I turned it the same day it got cut down. This is a piece of elm, but it's got the foot on the bottom of it, and this wasn't the tenon. The tenon was further in. It's always a good idea to have a nice flat base where your chuck rests up against, and that helps keep everything nice and tight. You don't want to have your tenon too long and then have your bowl hanging off of there, because it'll cause it to break off. It puts a lot of stress on it. So you want a short little tenon, maybe a 1/4 inch long, so that the jaws of the chuck can rest right up against the bottom of that bowl. So I specifically turned this with a foot on it, and then had a tenon below it, then reverse mounted it like this and turned that tenon off of there.
You could always advertise that bowl as a pouring bowl. It looks like a good
a lot of people like it like this too. They like the look of it. It's like an Easter egg, but it's really, really warped up.
That's definitely a pretty grain on there.
So you're saying that bowl was basically round when you turned it, and it ovaled on its own?
100% dead round. Yep. And I turned it to, it's a little over 1/8 of an inch thick, like all the way down. It's really even, so it dried evenly. And if you, this would be the reverse of a live edge. The live edge was on the outside, and the heart was in the middle. You can kind of see it right there.
Yeah, I see it.
You can predict the way it's going to warp, and it'll always warp up around that grain direction. So it won't crack on you when it goes that way. But if you had it the other way, with the live edge, it would want to expand out, so it would be a lot more likely to crack, versus this one that's, when it warps, it wants to close in on itself, and it actually makes it tighter, so it's not gonna.
That's awesome. That looks great.
See, I had never thought to do the opposite of a live edge. I just got so trained to do the live edge a certain way.
That's how I was. I did live edge for a long time.
See, basically, you're just facing the opposite direction.
Exactly. Yep.
Al, I see you called my name in the chat. Did I ever respond to you?
What he's saying is you're half in and half out of the camera, Charles.
Yeah, I tend to lean a little bit. I learned that from somebody else, but I'm respect him enough not to say his name.
Well, I was trying to, be subtle and quiet, and say, "Hey, Charles, move over," because it was like this. One eye, I was watching Charles. It was like that.
Well, most people prefer I wasn't even on camera. So thank y'all for pointing that out. I had a little bit of eye.
I'm leaning over here.
But there it is. Simple as that. How much? Dang, we're actually a little bit over on time. But yeah, here's a close-up of the jam chuck with the stuff, so you can get an idea of that. It actually would have been ideal. I think it was Shannon who pointed out, if I did turn this down flat, because it was rocking a little bit, but I was in a rush. That's all I could, I could do that now that it's mounted in the chuck. But it's as simple as that. I'll touch up that little spot on the bottom there, sand it, and put a little finish on.
Very, very nice. And not to take away from what he just taught us, but I didn't know this existed until about a month ago, but a dedicated bowl finishing chuck with extension jaws. It has little rubber pins, and you put the top of the bowl in here, and it exposes that tenon. You can turn it off that way. For my wimpy butt, y'all were talking earlier about certain things that make you wimpy on a lathe. That's what I'm wimpy about, is that bowl flying off when I'm trying to turn the tenon. So I think this is the method I'm going to go with. But what he just showed us is definitely one way to do it.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I would absolutely still put the tailstock up, Charles, when you're doing those, because you can't get a really good grip with those kind of chucks. They're you got to be careful. So I would keep the tailstock up as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. What is the difference between what I just showed and a Longworth chuck?
It's a Longworth chuck is weird. Like it's hard to explain. It's two different plates that turn independently of each other, and one of them has studs on it that travels in like a little groove. And so you spin one plate, and it expands those, and then you spin the other, and it locks it down on the bowl. And I could be wrong, but I think it's the centrifugal force of the lathe spinning that keeps the little studs locked onto that bowl.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, and that's actually a very neat idea. And those are permanent studs, right? And that's the difference. One of them being is that these allow you to put the rubber studs wherever you want them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Charles, you got to be careful with those kind of jaws that you've got with the rubber studs. If you've got a bowl that the lip is real thin or something like that, it's when you go to start to tighten that down, it's real easy to crack the lip of your bowl.
Yeah, and I tend to be wimpy on how thick I cut bowls too. I tend to go pretty thick.
Question real quick, Braxton, that not bowl, but the thing that you turn, that you put the padding on to hold the original bowl to turn off the tinning, do you make one of those for every bowl you turn, or?
I'll make a couple of them. I glued up another blank. I didn't know how long this was going to take, but I glued up another blank here, a smaller one. So this will be for smaller bowls, and then one for bigger bowls. But
okay, so you glow, like if you wanted to make large, medium, and small bowls, you would have one for large, one for medium, and one for small.
Yeah, pretty much. And this one, even if it doesn't quite match the contour, you can just turn it down a little bit until it fits your bowl good. Since it's just waste wood, you turn it to suit your needs, and then make it if you need to.
Right. I didn't know. Well, I understand what you're saying. That's what I was wondering, is if you had a few of them that you just used on all the bowls, or you actually turn one for every bowl you turn?
Yeah, I'll have like just like you said, like small, medium, large type.
Yeah.
Thing.
Okay.
Cool.
Good deal.
Anybody else got a question for him?
Very nice.
All right.
I really enjoyed seeing the whatever you called that.
A jam chuck.
Jam juice.
Jam chuck.
We've covered a lot of different name things tonight, so. All right. Well, we do appreciate it. And anybody else on the panel have anything before we wrap it up?
Good seeing you again, Braxton. You're a dang good guy, and not just on live shows.
I do it.
And anybody listening or watching, he not afraid to help people, and he doesn't have an inflated ego. He's just very friendly feller. And
Yeah, I mean, I just like to help people, so it's no problem with me. I don't mind doing this at all.
Good seeing you again, Braxton, but Charles is sucking up.
You got a little something on your nose there.
I resemble that remark, by God.
Truthfully, though, thank you, Braxton.
Yep.
Those looking for you, Braxton, if they want to find you, they just put your name in there on YouTube and find your channel, or
Yeah,
okay.
Braxton Wirthlin on YouTube or BraxtonWirthlin.com. It's currently under construction, but it'll be up soon. Yeah,
All right,
check it out on YouTube.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time. If nobody else has anything, we'll see everybody next Friday.
So we